Hey there, welcome back. I'm Simon, and today we're going to be having a look at the Everything Presence 1 sensor, and we're going to talk about why you might choose this sensor over its little brother, the Everything Presence Lite. A big thank you to Lewis for sending me this device to try out. Now, this is not a sponsored video, and he has no idea what I'm going to say. Now, I've been following Lewis's YouTube channel for a number of years, and he's been super helpful, and I was really impressed to see when he launched the Everything Presence 1 a year or two ago. Now, I have tried out the Everything Presence Lite sensor already. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to see my review on that product, but today we're looking at the original OG, the Everything Presence 1. Now, the main differences here are, first of all, that it has a PIR sensor included for that really quick response time. It also has a temperature and humidity sensor as well as a light sensor. And the other big difference here is the type of millimeter wave sensor that he selected. This one includes the DF robot sensor, the SEN 0609, and one of the key features about this is the distance that it can measure, up to 24-meter detection zone. So the first thing that always blows me away by Lewis's products is the packaging. He's got this really robust foam that the devices are mounted in. I'm pretty sure you could drop this from multiple stories and it would not be damaged. So having a look at the device itself, it's a injection molded packaging. So he's moved away from the 3D printed version. I saw on some previous videos, people were saying that these little ball mounts could be damaged easily, but this injection molded one is really strong. What I also like is the fact that the injection molded section around the ball is quite firm, so whatever direction you move it in, it's not going to slip. Looking at the device itself, you can see we've got this PIR sensor on the front. It's got this big plastic dome, and behind there we have that Panasonic industrial sensor. On the underside over here, we have our USB power connection. A power brick is not included with this device. You will need to supply your own. Lots of ventilation is provided, which is always good with millimeter wave as it does get pretty warm. On the back side, we've got the ball mount, and then we have this thin section going down to our base. So this could be mounted either with a couple of screws to the wall, or you could use some double-sided tape. Along with the sensor, we get this 2-meter braided USB-C cable. As you can see, it's got the 90-degree mount, so it fits really neatly in there and will not affect the movement of the sensor. Setting up the device in Home Assistant is super easy. As you can see here, it appears as a BLE device the moment that you power it on. So all you need to do now is select the Submit button and it will start the connection process. Next, you need to insert your Wi-Fi, SSID, and password. Once inside of Home Assistant, you can see the entities that are detected over here. We've got humidity and temperature, light, millimeter wave detection, occupancy, and PIR. Moving down, we've also got control over 2 LEDs on the device, and then we have offsets. Because the temperature humidity sensor is within the casing and can be slightly heated by the temperature of the ESP32 as well as the millimeter wave sensor, you can use these offsets to correct these temperature and humidity readings. Now, when setting up your device, it's really good to follow the EP1 documentation over here. As you can see, first of all, get your placement correct. So these sort of sensors can be affected by things like plants, AC units, curtains moving, and fans. So make sure it's placed away from any of those sort of devices. The next thing is to set the distance and the sensitivity and latency of this device. It gives you a step-by-step system to do this correctly. Once I had it all set up, I created 2 really simple automations. Now, this can be done in one automation, but the 2 are really simple to construct. So first of all, we have a look at when the sensor becomes occupied. Now, I selected occupied rather than PIR or the millimeter wave because this is a combination of the two. I then said turn on the WLED that is around my TV, and I also wanted to turn on the LED on the device. So you can see we can have control over the LEDs, and we can even make them flash short or long. A really simple way of creating your second automation is to click the three dots over here and go duplicate. This will now create another automation identical to this, and all you need to do is then say becomes not occupied, and then we go along here and we select to turn off the LED around the TV and also to turn off the LED on the device itself. So this device is really flexible. You can swap out things like the PIR sensor, but you can also go in and add other devices using these GPIO pins down the bottom left side of the board. So you could, for example, install the CO2 module that Lewis has made available, and then add the code to measure CO2 in your room as well. So in summary, this device is really easy to connect up to Home Assistant. It's a very reliable device, easy to tune, following the guidelines that are provided in the documentation. It's a very effective way of sensing and creating automations within your home. Now, I did notice that if I lie on the couch for quite a while, it will go off. So I've set a reasonably long delay so is in order to avoid that. Now, how does this compare to the Everything Presence light? Well, the light is really a different application. That's where you're wanting to actually use those zones and control different things based on the zones. So you really need to think, do I need a long distance or a large area that I'm going to detect motion in, or am I looking for zone control? And then of course the Everything Presence one also has that PIR sensor, which means that you get that instant detection, whereas the millimeter wave can have a slight delay. It also offers the two options, having the temperature, humidity, as well as having your light sensor. So that's my overall summary of this device. I can really recommend this as a great device for measuring presence inside your home. And if you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.